Good morning. Welcome to the meeting of the Brevard County Board of County Commissioners. It's November 30th, 2004. Next we have is a resolution for the prison book report. Commissioner Scarborough.
You want to come up, please? Before I read the resolution, I asked Ray to put together a little bit of a presentation so our community can understand to the extent that we're touching the lives of people throughout the world today. So, Ray, would you please give us...
Thank you. I appreciate Commissioner Scarborough for arranging this, and appreciate you all allowing me to appear before you. Let me give you a little history. We began Prison Book Project in August of 1994 with a goal of trying to place 1,000 books in the Brevard County Jail. We had a concept, if we loaded in fiction that was constructive, it would have an impact on people's lives that were behind bars. And the original concept was refined down to clean westerns. Good guy wins, bad guy turns into buzzard bait. And you know, that's where we started. We went around to Port St. John garage sales and bought for 25 cents a piece all the books that we could buy. And we kept running into Christian books, so we would buy those too. Every Monday morning we'd take 2 little bags down to the front desk at the county jail. After a couple of months, they invited me down to take a tour of the jail. And they took me in a little room where they had books that they would give to the inmates. I was appalled. 95% of the books there were Harlequin-type romance, murder mysteries, things like that. They'd been donated, and they really didn't want to give them to them, but that's all they had. I didn't think those things were appropriate. And the Harlequin romance speaks for itself, but murder mysteries, for instance. Generally in a murder mystery, the private eye solves a crime, and the police stand around looking like a bunch of buffoons. And that didn't seem appropriate. So we changed our goal from 1,000 books in 2 years into as many as we could get. After 3 years, we felt impressed that we should stop counting. We'd been counting every week. We drew a line in the book at 39,886 books in 3 years. The next day, one company, we'd try to get books from 2 different Christian companies, and they were Christian Western fictions. You know, really nice stuff. And the day after I stopped counting, one company called me and said, we got 20,000 books here, do you want them? And the next day another company called and said, we got 5,000 books, do you want them? We had to pay shipping in. And now we got 25,000 books, and we had to do something with them. So we decided to send every prison and jail in Florida 3 boxes of books. And then things kind of got carried away and got out of hand. It works, look at that. We're now serving more than 1,100 prisons and jails across the country. We've sent books through missionaries to more than 25 countries. As a matter of fact, we just sent a small package over to the Netherlands. Amazing. We sent stuff into Cuba, China. We smuggled a whole case of the Matthew video into communist China, 10 complete sets. The map that you see doesn't have 11,000 or 1,100 facilities on it, but a lot of those pins represent up to as many as 36 prisons. They call it clustering. In all 50 states, we're in all 50 states now. The unfortunate thing is we've got about 1,300 on a waiting list that we can't do because we just don't have the facilities. We recently had the hurricane damage. It tore the roof off the distribution center that we had. Then a few days later it tore off the temporary roof, and we got flooded the second time. They moved us to a different wing, and Francis came along and tore the roof off of that part of the building. And a few days later, we had some more rain, and it flooded the fourth time. So we're now consolidated into the warehouse, which is the old Radio Shack building in Titusville. They allow us to have that facility free of charge. And since we're out of the place where we were paying rent, that gave us some additional funds to pay for shipping. So instead of declining in the amount of production that we were doing, we actually doubled the amount of books that we were sending out. Tons and tons of stuff. I really didn't want to put this picture in here, but the guy who fixed up the PowerPoint thing insisted on it, so there it is. What we try to do is build boxes that we send out. The boxes have about 45 books per box. We try to build boxes with a good assortment in it. You've got to attract people to the book carts and to the libraries. So we do that with good fiction. And we're now supplied books by 31 Christian publishers. The stuff comes in on pallets, and we mix it up and send it out with good assortments in it. The people in prisons and jails range from barely able to read and write to college professors. So the boxes have to contain stuff to cover all of that. We send stuff free of charge. We don't charge them anything to do that. So we have to raise the money that we can to get it done, and mostly it comes out of my pocket. And I'm glad to do it. There it is. The data says that 30 people will read each book. We tested it twice in the Brevard County Jail. Each box contains 45 books. 45 times 30 is 1,350 people would be touched by every box. It costs us about $13 to send the boxes out. Average reading time is 8 hours. So every box of books that we send out will do 10,800 man-hours of ministry. 5.19 man years with no vacations and stuff like that. I like this. to give you some data and the importance of getting something like this done. According to Florida Today, this was last year, and I didn't collect this data, I'm just trusting their data. There are 2.1 million people in America's prisons. There are 4 times that many in jails. That makes 8.4. Total of 10.5 million people incarcerated in America today. More than any other country in the world, including China. Okay. I didn't want this picture in there either, but they insisted on it. They put it on the thing, I didn't have any choice. We get an average of 50 letters every day, and most of them are requesting material. Please send me so-and-so book. We send everything to chaplains so that it'll be shared. An individual, it doesn't get shared as much. Now, all these letters that come in, we read every one of them. We can't answer them all, it would break us up, but we read every one of them, and we answer 3 or 4 out of the 50. The data says, and here again, this data is from the newspapers and television and things and that sort of thing. I didn't collect the data. Of the people released from prisons in the general population, 85% will be back within 2 years. Recidivism rate is 85% within 2 years. Those people who are involved in chapel activities in prisons, the rate drops to 17%. And this data is, I think, valid because of the multiple sources that it comes from. One of the things that I think is important to know, University of Michigan did a study last year, and they said for the last several years and in the foreseeable future, 500,000 prison inmates will be released every year. That's about a quarter of the population, a little bit less. But that's 500,000 people that are criminals. And they may have paid their debt to society. But unless they've changed, we're going to have to deal with them. And statistically, we're going to have to deal with them over and over and over and over unless something is done to change their lives. And that's what we're trying to do, change their lives. 1 out of every 105 men in America is in prison. That's not talking about jails, that's just prisons. Okay? 1 out of every 1,613 women are in prison. For the first time in history, the number of women in prison now exceeds 100,000. 101, 179, according to Orlando Sentinel. The hurricanes did a number on us. Actually, our space has been reduced by 30% because of the hurricane. We were told that the distribution center would be available for us to move back into 1st of December, then the last of December, and now it's April. So we're working in a warehouse without electricity, without water. We got a little light switch. It's called a Venetian blind, vertical blind. So, and when it gets dark, we have to stop working. In this photograph, way back in the left-hand side is the shelves that we used to have books on, and now I have to work out of boxes, and it's harder to see what we've really got. Okay. We operate with an all-volunteer staff. Nobody gets paid, including me. Volunteers are hard to come by consistently. We have to train them, and they don't stay around. The work's just a little bit too hard, so they don't stay around very long. I don't want to take too much time, so that's it, unless you have some questions.
Well, I need to tell you two things. One is Ray is getting just brand new books now, and the variety of books is enormous. One of the things that impressed me, like he said, you have people that are marginal as far as their reading capacity, and one of the books I saw, though, was the Gospels in Greek. So you have this ability to shift specifically, and one minister only wanted to have the King James Version, so wow. You have to be careful of that. So it's like having contact with multiple prisoners through the chaplains. And the other interesting thing is there is the concern with violent Islam occurring, and there are others out there who are doing things, and there is things being written, and there's some newspaper articles I saw about Al-Qaeda ultimately wanting to work through our prisons to recruit, and if that ever occurred, there could be dangers way beyond what we think of in a foreign country. So what just good people in Brevard County is doing has to be recognized, and we want to just all know that. So may I read the resolution now? Whereas Ray Hall is twice retired, once from the Air Force and once from Lockheed Martin, but now at age 69 is busier than ever. Whereas in 1994 his wife, Kazuko, and she is, of course, Japanese, right?
Japanese, yes.
Yes. He founded the Prison Book Ministry to provide Christian-based reading material to inmates in our local jails to touch lives behind bars. Whereas the Prison Book Ministry initial goal was to provide at least 1,000 books in 2 years, whereas in 1997, Ray quit counting the books being sent out as he realized his initial goal had been surpassed by already providing 39,886 books to prisons nationwide. Whereas today books are shipped to 1,100 prisons and jails facility both nationwide and in 25 foreign countries, where each book is read by approximately 30 individuals. Whereas Ray says that he simply follows Matthew 25, I was in prison and you came unto me. But he also adds, the Lord tricked me. He didn't tell me how much I would be doing.
That's it.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, does hereby unanimously congratulate the Prison Book Project, and also Ray. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I move the resolution.
Moving to second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Show unanimous. Commissioner Colon?
Yes, Ray, I just want to, I can't even explain, gosh, it's just so emotional because this is something that's so close and dear to my heart. And to hear everything that you have done has just been incredible, and those numbers are real. And these are people who make some stupid mistakes, who, they're not your hardcore criminals, they're not the child molesters, even though some of them are there, and hopefully I have...
Some of them will change, some of them will never change.
Right. But then you have those who have not paid their traffic tickets and are just going out there doing things they shouldn't be doing, and then hopefully we have materials in there that will change their lives and come back, and books about being a better father, a better mother, being a better,
That's right.
just better human being is something that is so positive that gives back to the community, and it's such a savings to the taxpayers because they're not going to come back if we look at the bigger picture. So
That's right.
from the bottom of our heart, I can't say thank you enough for doing this, and I would love to know what more folks in the community could even do, and really kind of one-on-one to be able to embrace you. Here I am, an elected official, and I'm ashamed to say that I didn't even realize we were doing this, and it's something that's so close to my heart. So I just want to say thank you so much for what you're doing, and everyone who has volunteered.
Thank you. For your information, last week, we received $167,000 worth of books from publishers, and they'll be going out as fast as I can get them out.
Wow.
Okay, in 1 week. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.